Hidden trap of being booked out. This is an interesting one. Generally speaking, when you first start your business, when I first went into consulting, the goal was to get booked out. That was the goal. You started a business, you've gone into service provider, you do want to get booked out. The reason why this is such a big trap is because there's not generally a lot of consideration about what happens next. What happens after you get booked out and you've reached a capacity, you've reached a ceiling in your business. So for a lot of service providers, and I know I felt like this too, I created a business consulting. I was fortunate to book out really quickly and build a great business, which I did, like all of you, through delivering great work and building great relationships with clients. Generally speaking, if you can do those two things, deliver results and have great relationships, you'll get retention. And if you get retention, generally you'll get referrals too by nature. So that's how a service provider business will scale. But then you book out and you think to yourself, well, hang on a second. Is this a business or is this a job? Because it's feeling a lot like a job at the moment. Yes, I'm getting paid favorably, but I am a slave in this. I can't take time off because if I take time off, then I get back to this huge, barrage of emails or things to do. It's not feeling like something that I've created by design anymore. It's not feeling like there's freedom. It's feeling a lot like I'm in a job again. And so that's the trap. That's the myth that happens. You get to that booked out stage, but you're capped. You don't have time freedom. You don't have financial freedom because you're at capacity and you can't physically go into a warehouse like a product-based business owner can and pull time off a shelf. That can't happen. So we have to make decisions then about what happens next. And there are two pathways that you can take. We're only talking about one today, and that's scaling through a group program and scaling through leveraging your time. When you become a scalable expert, then you get leverage. So that same 40 hours can generate double, triple, quadruple the amount of revenue whilst working less time. Now, I'm not an internet bro with a Tesla, so I'm not going to show up here today and say that, you can work an hour a week and make $1 gazillion because that's not why we're here today. We're talking about scalable group programs. But what I want you to understand today is that hustling harder is not going to help you scale. I tried that and I can tell you it doesn't work. I've done it. I've lived it. It doesn't work. And I'll explain more around why. Leverage is the thing that's going to change the game for you. So that's the thing that you need to keep front and center today. By the way, how beautiful is this image on the right? I did a hot air balloon. Has anyone done a hot air balloon before? I did this in the Barossa and it was absolutely stunning. So I wanted to feature that for you guys. All right. So next worksheet, this is in your workbook team, so you can bring this up. When I think about the majority of experts that I've worked with and the conversations that I have with other service providers, they generally land in one of 4 levels. And sometimes they can oscillate between 2, depending on what's happening in the business at the time and some of the decisions that they're making. So when we think about scalable expert and what that brings, there are 3 outcomes that we're looking for. So in the most simple, plain English terms, more money is one of them. But at the red level, at the red zone here, that generally looks like taking on anyone. Number 2, the second outcome that we're looking for is more time. But unfortunately, sometimes what can happen is we start selling time. And that's quite a common thing when it comes to service providers. And number 3, more impact. But when you're at this red zone level, you're often doing everything. So it's impossible for you to have the impact that perhaps you truly want to have. So what we call this level is trapped operator. You're the technician in the business, you're taking on anyone, you're selling your time, and you're doing absolutely everything. So at that level, it feels a lot like you're a trapped operator. So this is the lowest level of the pyramid, so to speak. And there's a real fear that comes with this level. It's a survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, cortisol levels are high. You're in the throes of the busyness of everything that's going on. And it's very challenging to be able to break through that fear that you have. So a lot of the time, what we tell ourselves is, oh, if I just take on more clients, and I work a little bit harder, it's going to pay off. I'll just keep going. I'll push through. I'll do more, I'll add more clients in, I'll work harder, and it's going to pay off. That's often the myth at this stage. But in fact, the amber zone truth, so how we break through to that next level is actually not by taking on more clients and working harder, which is what, for a lot of us, it feels like we need to do. It's actually from focus on the right things and having boundaries, not more hustle. And again, that fear ignorance line is, well, what if I start, putting boundaries on my clients? What's going to happen? I'm going to lose all my clients if I do that. Or, there's this real fear that comes with that stage. So it's a common thing that can happen at this particular stage. Now, at that amber level, you're hustling. You're in that hustling expert stage. Revenue can still be unpredictable though. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. You might win a client, lose a client. There's still a level of unpredictable revenue. Calendar is chaos. Generally speaking, calendar is chaos, and it's running from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing, and feeling, discombobulated and confused by the end of the day, and over delivering. So for those of you that, sung out before and said scope creep is a big one. At this level, you're over delivering, and you lack that structure to be able to put all of those boundaries in place fully and be able to leverage on that. So I'd say at this stage, and let me know how you guys feel about these labels too. I'm keen to hear from you in the chat. You're grinding. You're not quite at survival mode. You've surpassed that, but it feels like you're grinding every day. And you're working hard every day. You've got that chaotic calendar where you're jumping from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. Then you transition from amber to light green. And this is the stage where you start to hit that ceiling for income. So you're probably booked out with clients. You've capped your income level of what you're able to create at this particular stage. Generally, it's founder dependent. So a lot of things still go through you, even if you have, an offsider or a right-hand person in your business, or you have a small team. A lot of the time, you're still the bottleneck. Everything goes through you. You're approving things. You're the person that everything goes through. And there's limited impact, right? For me, and what I'm taking you through actually rings true for me, because when I started, my vision was always to book out consulting and then to have a scalable group offer where I was able to work with more people and have more impact, because I knew that I was only able to help a small group of clients, because my model as a consultant was small volume, high quality. And so for that reason, I wasn't able to work in that consulting capacity with as many people as I wanted to. So I was capped, yes, from income, but I was also limited in what I could actually do and what I was able to, impact in terms of other people that I was working with. So if I, touch wood, passed away tomorrow at this time, my work would die with me tomorrow as well. And I didn't like that. I wanted to have more impact. I wanted to be able to do more in the world and be able to share that wisdom with more people. So for me, this really rings true, and I'd love to know how it lands with you guys as well. And then I settled for a long time. So at this stage, settling is common because it's good enough, right? Like, yeah, you've booked out. That's great. But it's not really what you truly want deep down. You look at it and you think, well, I don't want to be ungrateful. Like, I've got great clients, I'm booked out, I'm earning good money. Like, yeah, I can't take a 4-week holiday and come back to no stress, but that's the model that I'm in. And so we sort of get trapped in this, oh, well, it's good enough. That'll do. And for me, I stayed stuck in this for a really long time for a few reasons. One, I didn't have the white space to think about what I wanted to do for group offer, because I was just literally in the throw of it every day. Next thing, next thing, next thing, next thing. The second thing is, as a business consultant and a business advisor, I thought I knew everything. Who gets like that sometimes? So those of you that are in sort of, and it can happen in any industry, right? Like even in health, it doesn't have to be a business offer that you have. If you're an expert in something, sometimes that can mean that you're not very coachable in that area because you really think you know everything. And that was me 100% when it comes to this. So I knew a lot about scaling product-based businesses. I knew a lot about the work that I did, but I had my own fears and ignorance that were holding me back from reaching that next level. And, that's the power of mentors and working with great people, is when they have that identity that you aspire to have, they can help step you through those next levels and see the things that you can't see. So to get to the next stage, you need to think about, am I willing to confront the things that are holding me back? And number two, if I already believe that I know everything, like I did, about this thing that I'm trying to solve, then how could someone possibly help me? So these are some of the things that I had to overcome. And this is really powerful to be able to see this and sort of call yourself out on some of these things that are coming into awareness. So team, when we think about this top stage of the pyramid and what tends to happen as you start to go from trapped to hustling to capped and then to this final stage, when we break through this myth of, I'm doing fine, everything's fine, good enough is enough, we get to the dark green zone. And that is that true freedom comes from scaling leverage, not effort. So who is guilty of knowing that you need to put a process or a system around something that you do repeatedly and you just haven't done it yet? Because it's just quicker and faster sometimes to do it yourself. But in theory, we know that when you add up all of those instances of doing that thing, you'd save a lot of time if you invested the strategy up front to solve that problem and put a repeatable process around it. So I would imagine that for a lot of you, when it comes to your clients, you're probably having a lot of the same conversations. When you're working with people, I'm not saying that your work is cookie cutter, but I would say that there are a lot of things that you repeat over and over again. And internally, you probably feel like a bit of a broken record at times, that you're saying the same things over and over and over and over again. And this is part of what's possible when you start thinking about scaling leverage. And we're going to talk about that shortly. So as you could probably guess, this dark green level is the scalable expert. So we move through these levels from being trapped operator or technician mode into hustling, then into capped, which is a good place to be. But to get from good to great, we need to let go of the myth and the complacency around good enough is enough and truly go after what deep down you want to create and you want to do in the world and not settle for that or for anything less. So at this stage, there's predictable sales, there's time freedom, and there's scalable results, meaning that you can work with people at scale and you can scale the amount of results that you are able to create for your clients. And for me, deep-seated, we're going to talk about something in a minute that's going to bring this to life a little bit more. For me, it wasn't just about money and it wasn't just about time. It was about impact. And knowing that the work that I was doing was able to help more people and there was a legacy behind that. So that's really starting to get into some of the deeper layers around why you do what you do and what it would feel like to be at that dark green level. What would that feel like for you to get to that stage where you're, able to scale income, you're able to scale your time, and you're also able to scale your impact? How would that feel for you? Let me know in the chat what comes to mind when you think about that dark green level. How would that feel for you? Think about being up here. You've got predictable sales, you've got time freedom, you're not waking up in the morning triggered looking at your Slack like I used to, and waiting for that next impending emergency. How would that feel for you? Yeah. Peaceful. Yeah. Peaceful was my word. You know how sometimes you have like a mantra or a word for the year? I remember as I was transitioning out of that older season into the new one, peace for me was a really big one as well. So that's definitely resonant.